So many good things came from this past weekend in college football. Be that it is week one, I am super excited, man. Listen, if you have been outside, if you've just been dealing with the air and it just feels like football is back. It just feels like football is back, and I am more than excited to come to you guys on this Labor Day. Hopefully everybody is enjoying themselves on this Labor Day, because I know I am. But definitely, hopefully you guys are enjoying yourself. You got your day off. I know it's got to be some more football later on today. And then later on this week, you got the NFL starting up, Eagles versus the Cowboys. And of course, we can talk about that. But first, we're not even going to get into the NFL. We got to talk about this past weekend in college football. We got to talk about Lee Corso, giving his final farewell. We're definitely going to talk about that. And also, Lee Corso definitely had a way of going out with a bang. And we'll definitely get into all of that on this episode of AlphaMale Sports. What's going on, everybody? My name is Walter Pollard, a.k.a. the Alpha Male. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Yeah, I still use that tag from them, every now and again. But it's been an interesting week in college football. We can even date it all the way back to Georgia Tech getting that major win versus Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs in Colorado. So again, major shouts out to Georgia Tech. Rushing the ball like crazy. I mean, just a bunch of I think over like 49 rushing attempts for like 400 yards or something like that. Haynes King doing a really good job at quarterback. You dig what I'm saying? Knowing that he is going into the season as a Heisman hopeful. I'm not going to say a favorite per se, but a Heisman hopeful, as well as people are looking out for Georgia Tech as a potential dark horse for the college football playoffs. And I mean, it sounds good. It does sound good. I mean, we remember Georgia Tech from last season, how they took Georgia all the way to, I want to say like a bunch of overtimes. I don't want to say a specific number, but they took them to overtime so many different times. I mean, the game went late. You dig what I'm saying? But it was full of fireworks, but we're not here to talk about that. We're just talking about, of course, this year's 2025 week one. We'll definitely get into all of the different updates, different games and stuff like that. Really quickly on the home front, definitely want to give a major shout out to Benedict College. The Benedict College Tigers, they got their win over Fayetteville State this past weekend. Major shouts out to them. And also, too, just, keeping it in the state of South Carolina, we got to give a major shout out to Coach Kenneth Berry. Of course, he is the head coach of South Carolina State, getting a major win versus Wofford at home. I like Kenneth Berry a lot, bro, because, again, this guy, first, I think, I want to say, from Atlanta. He's a homer. You dig what I'm saying? And then not only just that, man, Coach that Benedict, revitalized that program, because when I was there, it was trash. And then not only that, you go to South Carolina State and you keep the same thing going. So again, super, super major shouts out to Coach Kingsbury. Super excited. Now, super excited, again, for this college football season. But again, seeing Lee Corso go out, giving his last, I guess, bobblehead or whatnot, or a helmet pick, was a sight to see.
Give me my first love.
Oh, there it is. Come!
Yeah, Lee Corso definitely, putting on the Buckeye, making the infamous pick. You dig what I'm saying? That will always be etched in my mind. Of course, being a college football fan, you know what I mean, playing college football, I've always wanted Lee Corso to pick my team. But of course, I didn't necessarily get to that level of college football. I got in college football. Not too many people can say that, but nonetheless, just seeing him do that for the final time was really good. He called it his first love. I want to say the Buckeyes was actually his very first pick. You dig what I'm saying? So, of course, this one was a big, big deal. Number 1, Texas. Number 3, Ohio State. That was really dope. And for him to make that pick was really cool. But the cool thing that caught my eye was, as I was scrolling through social media, just looking through some of the games. I wasn't able to catch all of the games, but I was able to catch a good amount of them. Definitely the Ohio State-Texas game. We'll get into that later. But looking through it, what caught my eye was that Lee Corso was perfect. And what I mean by perfect, dude picked every single game perfect. Now, if I was a betting man, if I had those sites where you could bet and stuff like that, I would definitely have locked that in. Because a lot of these guys, they bet on a whim. This is so-and-so's last game as a head coach, or this is so-and-so's third time wearing blue socks, and they've been on a 3-game win streak. Stuff like that. And so, of course, with Lee Corso, heading out, I think that would have been a good time to have, bet. But this is hindsight, and I wouldn't know because I'm not a betting man. But, again, super duper cool. Again, looking at Lee Corso and how he was able to call it. Florida State beating Alabama 31-17. Got to remember, he did coach at Florida State at one point in time. And again, something for Florida State. Really good job yesterday, man. Not yesterday, but Saturday of versus Alabama, recording over 230 yards rushing, 49 rushing attempts. These guys were definitely moving the ball. And then my question to you guys is, have we seen the last of Alabama? Have we seen the last of Alabama? Because this is a tough loss. And it almost seems like it's the changing of the guard as far as teams that were once here but now down here. Because we can all look back to 2 years ago, Nick Saban in his last season, and for 20 years, Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide have literally stood at the top of Mount Everest looking down on all of college football. Even if they wouldn't have won the national championship, which they didn't a few times, but even when they didn't, they still were Alabama, and you respected them like that. Unfortunately, they had a tough time versus Florida State, and I'm not even going to lay off of Florida State because we can all remember the start to the last couple of seasons, or let me see real quick. They can go. They actually last year. Yeah, it was just last year. Really, that was just a complete bottom falling out. You dig what I'm saying? Losing to Georgia Tech overseas, and to be honest, Florida State was ranked in the top 10. As a matter of fact, they were ranked 10 in the nation, losing to Georgia Tech, and then completely just sliding from there on, and then ending the season on an abysmal 2-10 record, then starting this season beating the number 8 team or 19, beating the number 8 team in the nation. Alabama, kind of knocking them off of their high horse. This is a good statement win for them going into the season. Really dope, really excited for them. Tennessee got a big win over Syracuse here in the Dome. Saw a lot of Tennessee fans, saw a lot of Syracuse fans. It was Syracuse is definitely a team from the ACC, has definitely started to make some noise as of recent. You know what I'm saying? And this was a chance for them to have, I guess, put themselves on the map. But of course, Tennessee really showing themselves, and not only showing themselves, but also showing their ex, that the quarterback that held out and said he wasn't going to practice because he wanted more NIL money. They said, okay, fine, go to UCLA. We don't care. We're going to keep winning. And that is absolutely what they did. Oh, and as of the quarterback, he lost bad. UCLA lost terribly over the weekend. So that's just another, I think, they played the Utah Utes. They got skull drugged. So needless to say, Tennessee got the best out of that situation. LSU versus Clemson. Again, that was another really good game as well. Young man walking off the field, super excited, beating Clemson 17-10. Again, now, like Florida State, okay, Florida State only had 1 year, I would say, of just some bad luck. But Clemson definitely LSU for the last couple of years has really had some tough outings in week 1. And Brian Kelly has to be thanking God. Okay, he has to be really thanking God that he does not. He's still on the hot seat, in my honest opinion, but the fact that he was able to get a win in week 1 definitely turned the heat meter down just a tad. If he can keep this thing going, get on a run or something like that, that would be great. Because, again, take this back to 2003. This is when things started to fall apart for Brian Kelly. I'm not even going to say fall apart, but again, LSU hasn't necessarily been doing what has been expected of them as of lately. So to get a win in the first game of the season, which is something that they haven't been able to do for the last 2 years. Take it back to 2023, losing to Florida State in New Orleans, 2024, losing to USC in Jerry's World. Brian Kelly, again, definitely got out a good win this past week versus Clemson. Again, being able to run the ball, being able to effectively, win a game on the road versus another ranked opponent. Night game. It was a 17-10 game. It was tied 10-10 going into the fourth quarter. So again, winning a close game like that definitely shows that they did a really, really good job. All right. You dig what I'm saying? And then also to the other games that definitely happened today. Well, not today, but happened over the weekend. South Carolina getting a major win. Shouts out to the whole state of South Carolina. Benedict got the win. South Carolina State got the win. Clemson didn't get the win, of course. I was always rooting for University of South Carolina. I went to school like right down the street from there. Shouts out to my boy Mike Davis. He and I both went to the same high school. When I found out he was going to South Carolina, man, I beelined right over there to him. You know what I'm saying? To give him a major congratulations. So again, big win for South Carolina, beating Virginia Tech 24-11. Miami getting the win. Carson Beck, again, what can I say? Had a tough time with UGA the last season. Of course, they did get to the playoffs, but it was statistically a bad season. I know he was going into the Heisman race that last year, but of course, things just didn't go as planned out. Receivers weren't catching the ball like they were supposed to. Too many turnovers. Then, of course, the shoulder injury didn't go well. Things did go down for Carson Beck at UGA, but then to turn around and get a win versus Notre Dame. Convicts versus Catholics. The media had put that all over television for this game, regards to convicts and Catholics. So good win for the University of Miami. I don't want to say that they're back, but again, good win for the University of Miami. And again, finally,
give me my first love.
There it is. Comes!
Yeah, Lee Corso finally, again, picking Ohio State to beat Texas 14-7. Here's my honest opinion about that. Really quickly, Arch Manning had a lot of pressure on him, and I'm not being an Arch Manning sympathist. What I am saying is that this is your first season as the starting quarterback because he spent 2 years behind Quinn Ewers. You go into the horseshoe versus the defending national champions on high noon, week 1, Saturday, week 1 of the doggone college football season. Listen, I would have had the jitters my damn self. Okay, and anybody who would have possibly have had the jitters, I would not have blamed you for it. But for the fact that Arch Manning was able to at least somehow drum up another opportunity in garbage time to tie the game up does show that the man has some fight in him. It does show that he is able to at least fight. I would expect for Texas to be in the college football playoffs later on this season. And they'll go from there. I don't see this being a complete dud. People have been talking bad about Arch Manning, saying that he was a dud or he's a bust or we overhyped him. Listen, you guys overhyped him because you paid too much attention to him. Now that the spotlight is on him, you expect for him to make magic. Give the young man a chance. Give him a chance. I'm telling you, give him a chance. This guy will show us what he is. He's a Manning, damn it. He's a Manning, for crying out loud. So again, this is going to be an awesome college football season. Hope you guys stick around because I'm going to be following each and every game, keeping you guys updated in regards to the college playoff race, as well as who's in the top rankings. I think later this week I will give you guys the top 25 as they stand. Also, too, mentioning big win for USF over Boise State. Boise State was ranked number 25 in the nation. Boise State was ranked number 25 in the nation and then losing to South Florida 34-7. 34-7, major win by USF. Other games around the league, Illinois, big win over Western Illinois, 52-3. Iowa State over Kansas State, 24-21. Penn State over Nevada, 46-11. Georgia over Marshall, 45-7. And then just a bunch of ragamuffin games. Michigan versus New Mexico State, 34-17. Shouts out to my partner Griff, because I know he's excited. Florida versus Long Island University, 55-0. So other than the major matchups, this was a wash week. Because next week and the weeks following is going to be some big matchups coming. And again, I am super excited for the rest of the college football season and just seeing how things pan out, man. I am super excited, guys. I can't say I'm super excited enough. But my name is Walter Pollard, a.k.a. the Alpha Male. He is I and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. And I'm signing out. Peace.